Welcome to Reality NSFW's coverage of Survivor 42, Episode 12. This is the Deep Dive podcast hosted by me, Alex Rubino, and always my co-host, Dan Montchal. Dan, how's it going? We're almost at the end.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It seems like we just hit merge a few weeks ago, and here we are, just one episode left.
I mean, we did hit it a few weeks ago. It's just been a few more
Yeah,
weeks than it
just
seems, but
gone a little quick.
yeah, a bit quick. We smashed an hourglass. We're at the end. Guess nothing happened. We just skipped right to the end.
Apparently.
Yeah. So this episode was titled Caterpillar to a Butterfly, and it felt like the season did that in a way. I don't know. This episode really got the season, at least hopefully ending on a good note. I don't know about you. I just love this.
Yeah, and so I did the live show with Matt right after, and I even brought up, I was like, I know that there are so many people that were rooting for Omer, and he was clear if he got to the end, he was going to win the game. But I think what we do get is it's really going to make this finale a lot more interesting because, I mean, there's a few people that you can say have no shot at winning the game, but it completely, I think, levels the playing field and makes it wide open for there's 3-4 different outcomes that could potentially win this game, which is something that you definitely can't say heading into most finales at the final five.
I think it was something we kind of got at the final four last season once we lost Ricard. It was all right. Ricard and Shan are the two big dogs in this race. That they're out now. This feels a little more. I think we've gotten that at five this season. We lost Drea, we lost Omer. Now we're at the end with five people who can't say I expected these five. Can't say I did.
No, I mean, you're just going through it. You think you're thinking first impressions, and it's, Marianne. It's just like, man, a lot of people love her personality, but can someone that positive and that outgoing, how's that going to work throughout the game? Jonathan is just, well, there's no way he's going to make it, an episode or two past the merge because he's so big.
God.
Mike being the older guy, generally they don't make it too far into the game. Lindsay and Romeo, you could say that, you could potentially see them from pregame, but it's definitely not the five I would have picked.
No, I didn't have any of these people very, very far. I think the farthest I may have had anybody preseason, for similar reasons. I didn't think any of these people could make it to the end. And look where we're at now. Romeo has the least chance of winning of any of them.
Yeah.
But he's there.
He's there.
He's probably going to be final three. But we'll see. At this point, I don't know. This episode crushed me. And what also stunk was that I didn't get to watch it right away. I got spoiled by seeing Omer's face pop up on an AEW article. And I got so upset. I was like, it can't be him, can it? And then another thing.
It shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been. And I'm thinking, if I had watched the episode live, if I'd been able to, just the reaction I would have had. The oh my God. And I still, knowing the outcome, really, really enjoyed this. And even on a rewatch, I'm like, how do they set up Omer's demise? How does this happen?
I still don't understand how the opposite side, that was the Jonathan, Mike, I guess somewhat Marianne, Romeo, how they put more thought into Lindsay playing the amulet than Lindsay and Omer did from what we saw. And that's just staggering.
Yeah. From what I've seen, Omer said in some of his preseason press with, I believe Dalton Ross is the one I looked at recently, that they were thinking, him and Lindsay were thinking, not as much about the idol going back into circulation, but about if Lindsay plays it for Omer, the perception that the two of them are such a pair that they thought they had under wraps more than the other players felt. And apparently, and Omer was like, if I feel safe, I don't need her to play it. Let's just keep us being together a secret, although it wasn't a very well kept secret.
Mm-mm.
But I want to ask this. Lindsay plays the idol for Omer. How different is this whole season? Does Omer win the game at that point, you think?
He potentially could. Honestly, I think the person that it helps the most in this situation is Lindsay, because Omer's still probably the target at Final Five. And then at least at that point, she has, at the very worst case scenario, a shot at fire.
Yeah, and I think for a player like Lindsay, she needed to be the one to take out Omer. I think this, not only not taking him out and having Marianne do it, whose stock is going way up, this makes Lindsay look bad, I think. I think her not knowing the plan really makes her look bad.
Uh,
I just
I don't
because
necessarily agree
everyone
with
else
that.
knew it. Everyone else was in on it, essentially.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think all of them there, to some degree, is there was some type of move that I don't think everyone was in every single move. I think it's almost impossible to do that in
Oh,
modern
for sure.
Survivor.
But I think this move, the like biggest move of the season, arguably, you can maybe say Dre the week before. This is one of the biggest moves, taking out the kingpin in this game, and Lindsay just having no idea. And also recency bias. These players, what are they going to remember? This is probably the last big move, assuming we get nothing crazy at 5 because everyone's going to play an idol. Then this is, I don't know. It's gonna be a question Lindsay's gonna get. I bet if she makes it to the end, and she's got to figure out a good way to answer it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I mean,
I don't think anyone has this game locked up at this point. So there's
no,
definitely some moves or some, jurying that you need to do a little bit to get there.
absolutely. I mean, in this instance, it would be you'd have a 2-2 vote between Jonathan and Romeo. Who do they get rid of in that spot? Do you think?
I think Jonathan goes.
I would hope so.
Because he'd still have Lindsay and Omer putting their 2 votes on. And then I don't think Romeo would. I guess Romeo wouldn't be voting. Mike still might not vote, but I think Marianne would. Especially the 2 of them have the idols that they're guaranteed safe the next round. Like, why risk going to Rox for that?
Yeah, I was gonna say it would be 3-3, and then I remember Marianne would have her extra vote carry over, and then she would make it 4. Could potentially make it 4-3 in the event that Mike votes out Romeo for whatever reason.
Yeah, so I still think Jonathan would go. I think at that point, their move was trying to get Omer, and I think if it didn't work, it was, well, then we got. I mean, Jonathan, he's, say what you want about him or whatever. He's at least a challenge threat that potentially would stop a lot of people from winning these last 2.
Absolutely. That gets me to the age-old question: can Jonathan win this game? I think we know pretty well Romeo can't. I think we know pretty well that Lindsay, Marianne, and Mike, in the right circumstances, can win. What about Jonathan?
No, I don't think he can win. I think at this point he has no path at winning the game because this isn't a jury that's going to respect the challenge threat as much as the strategical threat. And what has Jonathan brought to strategy or his social game or everything like that? Like, maybe his social game isn't that bad. I mean, obviously he's been catching more flack. It doesn't seem like, maybe no one's Jonathan's best friend that, oh, we're going to be lifelong friends, but no one's really speaking ill of him either.
Yeah, I don't think many of them, besides a Roxroy and a Mike, if Mike's on the jury, take him that seriously. I think Lindsay's fed up with him. I think Marianne's fed up with him. I think Omer was kind of fed up with him.
Like, there's no way High's voting for him.
No way High's voting for him. So I think not only on a strategic level do they not take him seriously, I don't think many of them like him. Like, I don't think they hate him. No one really, really dislikes Jonathan. But I don't think any of them are like sticking their neck out to say, oh, I want Jonathan to win this game.
No, and I think what he'd almost need is, because maybe I'm wrong, and if he's there, maybe we see something like it. I don't think he's would be able to campaign for himself as well as he'd almost need someone on the jury to campaign for him.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that person isn't there, not one that can do it well. Like, you'd need a Drea or an Omer or a High or someone like that to do it for him, and they're just not going to.
Yeah, honestly, the only people that I think Marianne now gets a lot of pull from an Omer and probably Drea, who are like probably having her back in a lot of situations. I think Mike can get maybe a Roxroy on his side that's pulling for him, and maybe some others. Lindsay's the interesting one. Does Lindsay have anybody that is really fighting for her? I think they all respect her.
I don't know if she has anyone necessarily fighting for her, but I personally think of the final five, if they were to go in without any big move, which is hard to say because you sure there's going to be that moment or two from the finale, but I don't think that there's anyone that wouldn't vote for her if she's there, regardless of the circumstances. And it looks like Alex is frozen. And that kind of derails some things here. So I apologize, folks. But I guess we'll just keep talking about the episode. You're just going to hear me for a little bit here. I apologize if it's not ideal, but we're just going to keep going forward. So, we come back to camp at the beginning of the episode, and everyone's giving Omer all these praises in the world, which is rightfully so. Oh, wait, here, Alex is coming back. I can stop monologuing.
Yeah. Yeah, my laptop decided to crap out. So while I get that back on, I've decided to jump on my phone. We'll see how this goes. So what were you monologuing about?
I was just going through, like starting at the end of the episode or beginning of the episode. Sorry, I should say that, they got back to camp and everyone's was pretty much praising Omer, saying that, that was his move getting out Drea. Yeah, and that's absolutely. Really as far as I got.
Well, I'm going to switch over real quick.
And he's gone again. This is some stellar stuff. And he's back.
There we go. I told you I was going to get this. Yeah, I don't need to be sweating doing a podcast, but gotta love technology not being on my side. Sorry about that. Yeah. Omer, King Omer. That move last episode was good and honestly probably too good.
Yeah, I personally thought if he was going to do it, he shouldn't get the idol back.
Yeah, and you want to know why he allegedly gave the idol back?
I know what you're going to say because I heard the interview, but go for it. Let our listeners know if they're not familiar.
Yeah, I just found this out recently. Omer had an idol nullifier. They brought back that stupid twist, and he allegedly got, I believe it was final 10, he said, when him and Jonathan were on the road where they got to get a bunch of fish.
Yeah, final 10.
Yeah, and apparently him and Jonathan both saw it. He grabbed it. It was their little secret until he told Lindsay. And that is what started his demise, because his plan for this was that he was going to give the idol back to Mike, find out when Mike was going to play it, use the nullifier on him so he gets another move in his resume, and he can take Mike out.
Which, I mean, makes sense, but it's just, I don't know, Omer, it's just like you have control of this game. Like you can't dictate every move because it's just that target grows more and more.
Oh, Omer is the definition of the player who wants to have their cake and eat it too. And he almost did. He wanted to make every big move in every spot so that at the end he could say, I literally did everything. These two next week did nothing. You can't do anything. I am going to win 9-0 and goodbye.
And I get where he's coming from. I mean, he wants to play that, almost quote unquote perfect game, whether, I don't think he's received any votes prior to this or whatever, but maybe not in the literal sense, but, wanted to say that I dominated it, from end to end. And with how many super fans that are playing the game now and how everyone knows the game, I just don't think it's possible to have that stranglehold on a game a la Kim Spradlin or like Boston Rob and Redemption Island, say what you will. But I just don't think that it's possible to do that anymore.
I think it's still possible, a lot less likely, and it depends who, and that's based on a lot of who you're putting up against these players. Like you could Omer have dominated One World or Redemption Island? Probably. Probably wins that game. Not winning this game. These players are way too savvy. But I think there could be a player who's maybe that next step up that could potentially dominate like that. We'll see.
I think you almost need that unconventional player. I'm thinking of like Tony, because Tony pretty much had that Winners at War for at least through the merge going forward. But Tony doesn't play a conventional game. It's something that only works for him, that if you try to replicate, you're probably going to go out extremely early like he did in Game Changers. So I think you just need someone that is playing a little bit differently. If you're just trying to be, strategic, this is my path the whole way through the game, I think it's just incredibly unlikely that you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. Will we get another one of these legends? I don't know for a little while. But
we very well could, but it's they're definitely, I think, fewer and far between. I mean, now 42 seasons worth of evidence, and most people, having seen majority of those seasons going out and playing, it's just, you can only reinvent the wheel so many times.
Absolutely. So yeah, Lindsay was happy to not die in the do or die. She's in a great spot. Supposedly, Omer wanted to unveil his evil laugh. He has Mike where he wants him. Oh wait, so that's also what I thought. And then Mike finally, I like Mike's line. He's like, I know Omer won't want to take me to the end because I'm really likable. Instead of, no, Omer's a big threat. Maybe that should have been the first thing. But he got to the right conclusion, maybe in the wrong way.
And that's my biggest concern with Mike moving forward in the game, is that he ends up with at the outcome that he wants in the final 3, but maybe not with the right thought process. And so when I was talking with Matt after the episode, I said my biggest concern with Mike is that he's going to have a coach-esque final tribal like he did in South Pacific. Obviously, 2 completely different, because, coach was all about religion and honor and all that type of stuff moving forward. But I'm just worried that Mike's going to go, you know who I am. I'm a man of my word, and kind of go on that spiel. And that's just going to be the jury being like, Mike, over here, like, you told me that isn't what you did. Like, own your game. And I'm just afraid he's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I could see him, maybe not to the level of coach, because coach was really kind of, he's thinking he was dominating, and then had a final tribal where his head was in the clouds. I think Mike could run into that, but my question is, it depends if he's up against. It may not matter. If he's up against Jonathan and Romeo, I don't think it matters. I think if it's...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying if he's up against Jonathan and Romeo, it probably doesn't matter as much. If he's up against a Marianne or Lindsay, he's in trouble.
Well, I think for Mike to win the game, I think he needs to go up against the other 2 guys.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's his path of winning the game. If Marianne or Lindsay are there, a week ago, I would have said he would have had a really good shot. Now, that stock's dipping for me.
Yeah, what I want to do, let's talk about Lindsay for a minute, because I think Marianne's stock rising has had hers to fall a bit. Does it fall? What are the power rankings of our top 3? Like, I don't know at this point. I think we know that Mike, Lindsay, and Marianne are 1, 2, and 3 in some order. We know that Jonathan and Romeo are 4 and 5 respectively.
If going into this episode, if I had to rank them, I would still have Lindsay 1, Marianne 2, Mike 3, Jonathan 4, Romeo 5.
Interesting. I think I might put Mike first, actually. I
Really?
think I might. And it's not that he's doing amazing. I think Marianne has bumped herself up. I think she might be in second. I do think this move hurts Lindsay, but it also puts her in a bad spot. She was the only one who was out of this vote. She doesn't have an idol. The people who do have idols at the final 5 are Marianne and Mike, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And potentially there could be one more. Probably one more. Somebody finds out a third person is safe. Somebody will win immunity. We could have...
I don't think they'll put a third one. I don't think they'll put a third one back, because if someone finds a third, then what's the point of the challenge? Whoever wins the challenge is safe, and then it isn't really a vote. It's
advantage.
You're gone by default.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You and I realize that. You and I wouldn't like that. Production would love that. I won't put anything past.
I don't know. So,
and it would probably help Jonathan.
It would definitely help Jonathan. No, I agree with you. I think Lindsay is in a much worse spot now prior because I think she almost needs to win this Final Five challenge. And the big concern and caveat with that is if we are following, the basic blueprint of season 41, once it got to the Final Five, they put them on this new island. And the first thing that they had them do the next morning was there's an advantage out there. And so they're all scrambling for it. And Erica last season is the one that found it. And it was a pretty big advantage because if it's Jonathan or Lindsay that finds it, they're going to win that last challenge.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not the last, the Final Four challenge. And so
Final
I
five.
think that puts
Wasn't
her in, Final Five.
Yeah.
And so I think that puts her in that much worse of a spot because if she is not the one that finds it, she doesn't need to just beat, Jonathan, who, say what you will, he's done very well in all these challenges, but needs to overcome starting from behind as well.
Yeah. Remind me. So the Final Five immunity challenge looks to be that thing where they're in a semicircle with the net in the middle and they have to like run back and do a bunch of different things. Was that what was the Final Five challenge in 41?
I forget exactly what it was, but it was something where I think you were moving around with poles and you needed to do, I remember there was either 6 or 7 steps to it. And whoever got that advantage got to skip the first 3. And so if they're all running around a net, my guess is that the advantage would be if they are going to, use that same blueprint, is that you don't need to go get all 5, 6, 7 bags, whatever it is, all the stations, is you only need to get, a handful of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something like that. That's a massive advantage if it would end up being the same.
Yeah, hold on, I'm reading it. Yeah, it did end with a 75-piece puzzle. Yeah, so I'm wondering if this could end with a puzzle and that would hurt Jonathan.
Okay, so it ended with a puzzle. Was it one of the ones where they were kind of up and you needed to use like a pole to like push your pieces off? And it was like Erica already had 3 bags off?
Each player had to collect several ropes off a tower to build an individual ladder. Erica had 4 rungs already assembled on that ladder.
That's what it was. Yeah, so she already had the rungs assembled, and I mean, at that point, that was half the ladder.
They had to climb the ladder of ropes to move forward to collect the bag of puzzle pieces, and then get the bag, climb more, and solve the 75-piece puzzle.
I apologize. Normally, I'd be better at knowing this, but I blacked part of 41 out, so it's
also it's the challenge is the part that I cared about the least. All good. All right. So, Mike goes to Marianne, and then they talk, and he's like, "We should get Omer." And she's like, "Omer's been my number one." Mike's like, "He was my number one ever since we met. Something's up," which I think. And then we kind of get him explaining how like Survivors played well, like the let her think about it, take her time, which is good. It felt like I don't know. I didn't need the explanation, but okay. Mike knows what to do at least.
Yeah, I mean, Marianne isn't the type of person that you can just pressure in because I don't think she would listen to that. So he at least had the right approach there. Maybe it wasn't the best execution, but it was probably about as well as he could do in that scenario.
For sure. And then they all say Omer became a threat the last round. I thought that was a little late, but they realized it better late than never. I think Omer was almost trying to like with the cake and having KK to make all the moves he can without them seeing he's a threat, and he just pushed slightly over, and they're all like, "We've got you."
Yeah, it was just a little bit too much. There needed to be a time in there where he took his hands off the wheel and just let someone else make the decision. I think had that happened once or twice where it was still an outcome that was going to be beneficial to him, then maybe he's still here.
No, he's like, I need everybody's blood on me. I need every move on my resume. Nobody else can have a thing. And it was like, if you give up one, you still win the game if you win 9-1 or 8-1. It's like you can give up one, you still win 7-2. You're fine. You still win by plenty. But he did not go that route. It was more entertaining for us. But now, what's going to happen next week.
I guess we shall see.
And then Marianne tells Mike about the extra vote. I thought that was interesting. It was a decision.
I think that's the right time to do it, just simply because she had to play it at that tribal because it was the last thing you could use it. So while I
didn't hate it either.
Yeah, I think while necessarily you don't want to tell people about advantages, especially idols, I think if it's something like an extra vote where, hey, I'm using it this tribal council no matter what because I have to or it expires, I think that's the right time to try to use that as leverage.
Yeah, and it worked. It very well worked. I think Mike and Marianne, I think Mike deserves a bit more credit for this move. Obviously, Marianne did a lot of the heavy lifting and got into motion. But I think Mike starting with the we should take out Omer train, I think really got her thinking. And then she went on to the move that she made, which was phenomenal.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why maybe he gets dinged a little bit for it, or maybe not even dinged, but doesn't get the credit necessarily for it, is because the pushback when they were discussing it towards the end of the episode before Tribal.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think he should get that much credit. I think the beginning he gets credit. Everything else he loses with me. The fact that he's pushing back on it so much is where he loses it. But he does deserve something.
That's fair.
And it could be something that, honestly, if he's up against Marianne will pitch the move, and he'll be like, well, where'd you start with it? And if she's on the jury, he'd be like, well, Marianne, you made that move. I was a big part in it. So at least he'll tell himself in the jury.
That's true.
All right. So then I think this is the longest amount of time in an episode we went without hearing from Jonathan.
Wow.
Marianne
talks tired.
Yeah. Marianne tells Omer Lindsay that Mike is paranoid. Good move on her. Then Mike tells Jonathan that Marianne's on board with the Omer plan. And Jonathan's like, I don't trust Lindsay and Omer. Good. Very good, Jonathan.
Yeah, that was actually pretty perceptive on his part.
Yeah, it was good. We then go to the reward challenge where Jeff calls it a choice of sustenance or decadence between grilled chicken and veggies or chocolate cake and cookies. And interesting decision, gotta say.
I would have chose the chicken personally, but I understand where he was going. He was trying to feed the most amount of people.
Yeah.
Rip on their digestive systems about 30 minutes after that, but, good for them.
Yeah. If I'm looking out for me, I choose the grilled chicken. If I'm looking out for like my game, I probably pick the chocolate cake like Omer did to feed the most people. Also, I would do everything in my power to take it slow. And we all say that. Take it slow. Be fine to watch everyone else. All my competition have gastrointestinal distress. That would be my goal. Would I? Maybe not. Probably not, honestly.
If it's right in front of you and you're starving, you're probably going to eat it.
Yeah, I eat it quickly. We get a couple Jeff quotes that I thought were fun. And I noticed I want to highlight. First one, Lindsay, tearing up those knees, man. Okay. All right, Jeff. Second one.
Jeff can't make his ball comments anymore, so he has to try going a different route.
He tried at the end. There was a ball in the challenge. He tried. Second one is Marianne is now trying to unspin and to reverse her dizziness. Never seen anything like it. I love that from her. It's just perfect who Marianne is.
Yeah, right out of the gate, she was just all over the place. Like, it was fantastic.
I want to know from her if it worked.
I don't think that's
I don't either, that works. But I wonder if it did at all.
Trust me, I'm sure someone will ask her that on Exit Press at some point.
Hopefully it's me and you. I won't ask. But we'll see. Marianne, talk to us. And then the last bit, it just made no sense to me. He's like, Jeff's like, sometimes it's fun to just listen to the sounds of a challenge. Okay, so Jeff shuts up for 30 seconds, but they play Dodo music.
They weren't going to leave it silent. They were never going to do that.
I think Jeff was like, it's time for me to listen to the sounds of a challenge.
Maybe he was just out of commentary.
Yeah, I think he just did it and was like, all right, I'm going to shut up for 30 seconds because I'm tired of talking. Puzzle pieces hitting the ground are fun. And then it's like, then he ramps back up and we get to I mean, the dodo music made it funny, but it was just like not that. Didn't feel like it made that much sense.
No, not a ton.
No. Well, Omer wins the challenge. He says he hopes this will inspire his niece to try new things. Then we get Jeff with breaking the fourth wall with the beautiful message. Ain't that sweet?
And this is the first puzzle that we've had in a while.
Yeah. And of course, it was for reward, not immunity, because otherwise Jonathan would have had no shot at immunity.
You said it, not me.
Did say it. I'll own it. We'll own it. Then we get the choice of if you take grilled chicken, you get to bring 2 people. Chocolate cake lets you bring 3. Yeah. He, I think, made the right move. He picked Romeo, Marianne, and Mike in that order to go with him, leaving Jonathan and Lindsay back. Smart move, really all around.
Yeah, because if in Omer's mind there, he's trying to split Jonathan and Mike, so you clearly can't have them together. And then because Lindsay's clearly is number 1, I don't think you can bring her either, especially if they're trying to downplay it and hide it as much as they possibly can, despite the fact that it's somewhat obvious. She can't go either.
No. Even if my number 1 is clear as day, even if it's a loved one, I ain't taking them on board. Never. They are going back to camp. They are being my double agent. Then we are trading notes the minute I get back. And if one of my allies takes me on reward, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And then I'd be like, you're an idiot. What are you doing? Why am I here? Can I go home? Can I go back to camp? But
time and time again, you see people make that mistake. But to this Omer's credit so far, he played it well.
Here's the thing. I need to have your voice in my head if I ever decide to apply and then go play Survivor, of just all the things that we know not to do. Don't stuff yourself with food, especially if you get dessert. Don't try to win the loved ones challenge if that ever comes back. Don't take your ally on reward. I need all those things just on a loop in my head.
I mean, they're easy enough to think when you're not out there.
And I think they're easy to think when you are out there. I just think they ignore it.
Well, I think it's also that too, when you get that break from camp, it's just, why would I not want to go hang out with people that I like, for several hours? Not, maybe if it's people you don't get along with, why would I want to bring them along?
Absolutely.
This is my break. I deserve a little break from this. So I think there's a lot of different reasons why we don't necessarily always see it.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So they go to the reward, and Omer literally says, I want to deprive Jonathan of any energy that he could possibly get. Although, if this is the reward, I might bring him and give him a stomach ache. I would think about that. I get why. But could Jonathan, because Jonathan's just going to eat and eat and eat. And maybe he's puking. And I don't want that in real life, but in the game, I might say, you know what? That ain't the worst thing for me.
It's possible. And, maybe it causes obviously some negative effects there, but I still think that there still has to be some positive from getting that much sugar and the energy.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it all ends up canceling out, but I think you just want him as low energy as possible.
Yeah. It's a risk. I think Omer made the right call. And I think the bigger benefit is honestly just the joy that people feel. For a second, just oh, I'm not starving. Oh, chocolate tastes so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Jonathan Lindsay's like, she's not bitter. Jonathan tells Lindsay that the plan is to get Mike comfortable enough to blindside him, and that they both know that they're fake, just lying to each other. Again, Jonathan, a little more perceptive than I had thought previously.
Yeah, they were both kind of just going through the motions, and we're going to say what, we both think the other one wants to hear, but it's...
Yeah. I'm sorry. If anyone is telling me we're getting rid of Romeo, I'm immediately being like, you want me out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You can't be this stupid. Why are we getting Romeo out? Romeo is going to the end with me. And if somehow he wins, shame on me.
I don't think you have to worry about that. I don't think they have to worry about that either.
They don't. But that's just be my mindset going in. Of whoever that goat is, if it's pretty clear they're the goat, they are coming with me. They are my tightest ally. Nobody is getting rid of them. Nobody's touching them. They're mine, and they're going to the end. Flat out, they're going to the end, and hopefully I'm with them.
Well, hey, we went through Romeo's voting history last week. He was finally on the right side.
He did it. Yay.
First time post-merge.
He did it. He was technically a part of a blind side. Good on him. Good on him. All right. So then we go back to camp. Lindsay says to Mike that Jonathan will go if Jonathan will go if he doesn't win immunity. Says that he's a big target, and otherwise Mike is in trouble. And then she tells him about the idol that she has before telling Marianne and Jonathan and anybody that's not named Omer. That bit her in the butt for sure. Really did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I think honestly, I think that could be Lindsay's biggest downfall is not knowing. Like, I think she's playing an overall very good game generally, but specific to each person, I don't know anyone who is loving it. You know what I mean? Like Marianne, you need to be tailoring it more to her. I think Omer was very good at this. He knew the type of player that Marianne was. It was like, all right, let me give you information. Let me keep you at ease. You're in on the plane. You're in. Like Mike, all right, Mike, what kind of let him figure out, like almost what Mike was trying to do to Marianne. Let Mike figure it out. And you just keep going with how these people respond. And I think Lindsay's overall very likable, very sociable, very good strategic, obviously very good threat in the challenges. And I think that makes her probably the most balanced player left. But is she able to get people to say, yes, I want you to win? I don't know.
I still think if she's there, she has a very good shot at winning. I think it's more about the uphill battle of actually getting to the final three now for her.
Yeah. What I want to do later is do a game of Lindsay, Marianne, and Mike in the final three and go juror by juror, because I think that's the most interesting outcome. Although how we get rid of Jonathan and Romeo back to back, I don't know, but I'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, because Romeo would have to go first because I don't see in any scenario whoever wins the Final Four challenge Romeo isn't getting that second guaranteed spot.
We say that, but we also had Heather be in the Final Four for our making last time and almost win it.
Yes, we did have that. And despite the fact that we didn't see anything about Heather, there was actually what we got from post game was that Heather was in the final three. She actually had a shot at winning the game.
Oh, the editing. I wonder if people are saying that about Romeo. I doubt it, but maybe.
I don't think so.
I don't either, but just saying after that, and also after learning that a nullifier was in the game and nobody knew about it, I don't know anything anymore. What are we here for?
Just the smooth, soothed sound of our voices, I guess.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I mean, I do love hearing your voice, so it works out.
Appreciate it.
Yes. That's why I love doing this with you, my friend. All right. Immunity challenge. Lindsay won it. I didn't write anything else down about it. You had anything interesting from it?
I'm trying to remember exactly what the immunity challenge was.
I don't.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was They were into but at the end of it, that's where they had the ball puzzle. I'm sorry.
That's it was kind of like the maze at the end, or the table maze at the end.
Yeah. I like that. It was more of that.
No, I think that's a pretty good challenge. Because that, I guess it's technically a puzzle, but you still need it. I feel like that's pretty open across the board. Like, I don't think there's any, body type or physique where that necessarily it tailors to you. I think it's more just, it's a skill that you either have or you don't. And it's really hard to tell because I doubt anyone's practicing these. I mean, if you are, good for you. But I think it's just something that it's like, hey, you have or you don't. And it's really not specific to anything else.
Remind me if I applied as a survivor, I get further in the casting process to get to bother a woodworker and have them make me puzzles.
Okay, you in touch with Bob Crowley. I'm sure he can make one for you.
Bob. Oh yeah, Bob. I bet Bob could do it. I would love it. Oh, Bob. And then if I magically either win the game or go out first, probably go out first. I was like, I did this for you, Bob.
But yeah, no, I thought it was a pretty good challenge, and it was just, I think what really benefited Lindsay was she got there first.
Yeah. They say the only thing that matters is the puzzle, but sometimes it matters who gets there first. This is one of those instances where it didn't just come down to the puzzle.
Yeah, because I don't think that that's anything that you're just gonna, unless you're weirdly good at table mazes, I don't think it's something that you're weirdly just gonna get, knock the two out right back after back. There's definitely a learning curve there. So the more time that you get, to have a feel for the table and what you need to do, it's just gonna be beneficial. So there's absolutely a huge benefit to getting there first, or being one of the first few there.
Yeah, I love those things where you kind of need to figure out the learning curve to it. Because then it does, like you said, reward the person who's there first, and also rewards the person who knows how to take it slow and pays attention.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't just like, who was it? Was it Tony that was just trying to like ram it down? I feel like it was Tony. It was somebody. I think in Winners at War that would just had no patience whatsoever.
So I know the table maze. I'm trying to think. I know the table maze for Winners at War. That was the last re-entry challenge where Natalie ended up winning.
I
and
remember
coming back
Natalie
in the
won it, but
game.
there was something. Who was it? I remember just somebody like maybe it wasn't Winners at War, but it was somebody who like just kind of like shook it, and Jeff just made fun of them for it. It was like this person has no patience.
Well, I know you've seen it more, and maybe it wasn't that one, or it was one of the ones where you're doing it with like the two levers, where you actually have to get it through the maze and like go around the obstacles where there's holes where the ball can drop through. You've seen a number of different people do that, where they're trying to do that, or the one where it's up against the wall where there's all the poles where you're balancing and moving backwards. I guess there's a few different versions of it.
I am thinking of specifically the table that we saw, and that's what
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I am. If anyone remembers that, let me know. But I will rack my brain about it until eternity and remember the minute I hit end broadcast on this, because of course I will. All right, we get back to camp on day 23, and Lindsay's proud of herself for winning, as she should be. She dominated, and I think that is going to give her an edge at Final Tribal. Is it enough? I don't know. And that's why her, Marianne, and Mike are very close in my eyes. And if she wins the last two immunities, she might be bumping up in my stock.
Yeah, I think that is the one thing that you can say is I don't think they would respect Jonathan and just I was dominant at challenges. But I think Lindsay would definitely get a bump for being like, hey, everyone called Jonathan Goliath, and
I beat
or
him.
Jeff called him God's gift to universe. But I think if you were able to say, hey, not only did I get here, playing decently, I won't say great, but decently socially and strategically, like I won more immunities than the guy that everyone was afraid of in challenges.
I would give her a lot of credit for that. And I hope the jury sees it too. But I also wonder what we've talked about. Could we have another season, the second season in a row, of a woman winning and getting no edit? Getting nothing until the merge, getting really nothing for the first like third of the merge itself. Like, would they do that again?
They could. I don't think they will because, like earlier we were talking about, the rankings is where they sit right now. I don't have Lindsay at number one for who I'm expecting to win, partially because of the uphill battle that she has to climb from here, but two, just because I can't believe that they do it again. I mean, I can, but I'd like to think that they wouldn't do it again.
And that's where I'm getting towards. I think Mike still wins this game. I think Jeff is happier with Mike win. And he seems pretty happy about the season. He just did an interview with Dalton Ross where he's talking about one, for those of you who don't know, the reunion will be no more. Even for 43 and 44, they will announce the winner live and do the Survivor after show, which we all loved in season 41. So much.
So I did the live reaction pod for last season for 41 because Fair Play and Matt were on location. And we cared so little about it that we started recording before that was over.
I forgot. I was at like a viewing party, and at the beginning, I tried paying attention, and then I realized, what am I doing? There are Survivor players here. I'm gonna go talk to them, and I did.
I went back and watched it afterwards, like, oh, maybe there's something that I missed, and finished the 20, 30 minutes, whatever it was, and was like, nah, I actually didn't miss too much.
Nope, I didn't miss a damn thing.
Well, especially because I think you get a better perspective from the players when after they've been able to talk to everyone and they have time to reflect, where I think like maybe there'd almost be more of an appreciation for someone like Omer after the game, where maybe on the jury they don't realize how in control he was from the start of the merge, because it was a little bit more subtly, where once you get to talk to everyone, you're watching it live or whatever, you're like, oh, like he wasn't only just a little bit of a threat, like a massive one.
Yeah, I think there's merit to getting them live right after, and you kind of get some raw reactions, and without seeing it on TV and having your judgment clouded and having people come at you. And that's the point that Jeff made in his interview. I get that. I also think there is merit to seeing how they've processed everything, how they've seen everything play out and process it. But I also think there's a middle ground that could have been cool. And it's like it's impossible to do, but I would love something where, whether it's like a Zoom call or whatever, that you just do, like, you get everybody on a Zoom call for an hour, 3 weeks, a month, maybe 2 months after the season has wrapped and they're all home. Because then they have time to process things. They've been back in the real world a little bit. And, oh, how are you feeling now? I think that would be interesting. No, we'll never get it, but boy, would that be something I want.
Yeah, I think it'd be especially beneficial as I'm thinking about people that finished like 2 through 4. Because the winner, they're just going to be ecstatic or whatever. I think at 4, you were literally just voted out. Then you had to turn around and vote for someone like Ricard last season, and he's still trying to process the
Ricard was
entire
at
thing.
5. You can make the argument.
Sorry,
5
5
as well.
Yeah, sorry.
The fire making.
So maybe it's 5 through 2. And then if you're in the finals and you're lost, like I don't really want to talk about it because
I'm miserable.
I'm still trying to figure out what happened. Like, because in your head, if you're sitting at final, I think it's easy to be like, hey, I have a good shot at winning this game. Where maybe if you have a little bit of time to think about it, you're like, oh, I don't. In the moment, you really don't know what you did wrong because you're 26 days in, you're not eating, you're still not thinking properly. And I hate to break it to you, Jeff, but champagne and pizza, and then 6 minutes later isn't going to get your brain firing on all.
No, honestly, if I'm a player, probably especially if I'm in the final 3 and I lost, I don't want to talk to. I just want, like, you know what? Let me talk to the people. Like, let's have, like, hug it out, just chill, and let me maybe forget about the night. Maybe I ask a couple questions of, did you vote for me? Did you vote for me? Did you vote for me? And maybe I'm asking why. Maybe then I'm going to everyone like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And then I have an answer. And then maybe I'm ready to talk about it. Right then and there, I literally probably wouldn't be. I still remember Chrissy Hoffbeck at one of the tribals in here, HHH, where she's not even looking at Jeff. She's just counting on her fingers. I think it was it was after JP got blindsided and she's trying to figure out where she's on the answer. That's what I'm doing. When Jeff, reunion show, after show, whatever the hell, let's have pizza. I'm like, I don't want it.
I'm probably grabbing 2 bottles of champagne and going and sitting on the beach and just going to sit in my own thoughts for a while.
I might be doing that, but I'm first counting. Who voted for me? Who did, who didn't, and why? I was like, all right, that one made sense. Did you vote for me? No. Wait, what? Why? Oh, I did this. And I'd be like, oh my God, I just didn't say this one thing. Great. And then I'd want the champagne.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but that's just the way I am personally. Even for the winner, I'd be like, let's celebrate. I don't want to be on camera anymore. I've been on camera for 26 days. Stop.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a real conversation? And it's like, I bet they're still like talking about things, like, but there are certain things you just don't talk about on camera, and I just want to like be able to have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think if I ended up winning the game and it was right after or whatever, be like, Jeff, get that bleep button ready because there's going to be some expletives flying because I'm not going to be able to contain myself.
No, I am happy. I'm telling everybody where I live and that there's a party at my place. Literally, I'm like, here's my address. Come here. We'll go. Except you. I don't like you. You didn't vote for me. Everyone who voted for me gets to go. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I probably wouldn't be that bitter.
So going to pull the Mike White, where everyone that voted for him, he took them and their loved one to back to Fiji.
I forgot. I forgot. It was just the people that voted for him, right?
Yeah, it was only the people that voted for him. So it was like Christian, Kara, and then I don't know. I don't think Alec voted for him, but because they were dating at the time, they went. And then Allison and her, well, now husband or whatever, he took all 6 of them to, or 5, whatever it was, to.
Yeah. One thing I'd have to say to Mike White, and that is, Mike, you literally said you don't know if you want to win the game. The minute you say that, I'm not voting for you. Before that, I might you. But I'd be like, I would be so mad. Like, really, I lose out of a trip to Fiji because I didn't vote for the guy who didn't want to win.
Yeah. Actions have consequences, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be one that has consequences that I don't really like. But you know what? I would. That would have been an interesting season to podcast about. Gotta say.
Oh yeah.
But we're here. What happened on day 23 after the challenge? Lindsay's proud of herself. Jonathan's upset. Yeah. You, me, and Mike are gonna vote for Romeo. Yep. Lindsay says that she wants Jonathan to go home, and for the love of God, why can't this happen? Like, I enjoyed
Marianne.
Yeah, I enjoyed the the result. I mean, I didn't want Omer to go home, but I enjoyed the big mindset. But I would not have complained if we just had the easy vote. Jonathan, you're gone. Goodbye. But can't get nice things in Jonathan as a finalist. And I still have to say that he has a shot to win. A small shot, but still a shot in that. Oh, if he wins, all is unholy in the universe.
He's not winning. I feel pretty safe in that.
Dan, stop saying things you feel good about.
Hey, I've been better the second half of the season.
Okay, and I've been worse. All right, I thought I gave Omer a 9 last week. I felt way too good about him. I literally, first time I bump Omer up, I'm like, oh my God, and I gave him the kiss of death.
That was why I wasn't willing to raise my number, because I was afraid.
I just didn't think it. Like I was like, all right, at this point, who's getting rid of him? Oh, Marianne. All right, oops.
Well, especially if you're updating it, as the episode's going on, you feel even better once Lindsay wins immunity, because you're like, oh, she can use the amulet on Omer.
She tried to get too cute. Well, they both did. I'm gonna blame both of them. They both tried to get too cute, and that's what happens. All right. Omer then pitches Jonathan to Mike. Lindsay tells Omer she won't play the idol, so it doesn't go back into play. How is Omer okay with that?
So I know I mentioned this when I was talking with Matt, but I said it makes no sense to me on so many different levels. But even if you're thinking about if it were to go back and play, which I don't think it would, because it's not a normal idol, if you get your result and Jonathan's gone, say he's gone, and then the rest make up the final 5. Mike isn't looking for an idol. He already has one. Romeo, what evidence do we have that he's moved in a month? We unfortunately don't. So why would you be worried about him? So if you're thinking then that they obviously don't know that Marianne has it. So secretly, she probably wouldn't be either, because she has it. But even if they don't know
pretend to look.
Yeah. Maybe so given the benefit of the doubt, they don't know. And so she's out there looking as well. But you'd still think we need to find it. And we're essentially 2/3 of the people that will be looking for an idol.
Yep.
Just make sure wherever Marianne goes, someone's, talking to her, going with her.
Even so, even if all 5 of them are really looking for it, I don't care. We got to find it. We're not sleeping. And you know what? If somebody else finds it, good on them. But we got. If I'm Lindsay, I get it a little bit more. But for Omer, my God. If somebody has an idol, you play it. I'm sorry. The only reason you don't play an idol for yourself is if you win immunity at the final 5, or in this case 6. So Lindsay not playing it, okay. You can make that argument, fine. But Omer not getting her to play it, shame.
Well, that's just it. Name a time where it's the last tribal that something can be played where someone decided to hold on to it where it's worked out well for them.
I think Kim. That's it. I think Kim is the only reason.
Yeah, well, she's a unicorn.
She is. There, I've named you one. The only one I can think of. And even so, if she played it, she would have probably been fine.
Yeah. Well, it's weird that, when you get to the final five, that, you have someone like Christina there that's just like, hey, I get it. I'm going home. That's
And then she didn't
usually
go
not
home.
something that you see. No, at 5 she did. Or sorry, at 4. That's
Yeah.
where they couldn't play at that. But at 4, when it was just, oh, I'm going home, whatever. It's been fun.
Can I have a Christina Cha in my season, please? Please?
That One World cast. What a banger.
Amazing, we got one of the best players ever out of that. And we got Troy Zan.
And we got Leaf.
No one else.
Oh, we're not counting Leaf?
No.
He slept in the box, though.
No.
Okay, just checking.
No, not counting Leaf. The only other person... Actually, no. There is one other person we can count. I feel bad for disrespecting her. Sabrina. We got to count Sabrina.
Yeah. No,
count Sabrina. And if we want to really... Actually, we can count Jonas. I like Jonas. We can count him. Not as a player, but like as a character.
That's fair.
He can count as a character. And then Tarzan's stupidity maybe a little bit. I don't know. But whatever. Back to this season.
So that's talking Survivor One World.
Hey, 24-42, flip them around. That's what we're doing. When else are we gonna have runway to talk about Survivor One World, my favorite season of all time?
I think we've about covered everything that I need to say about that season, so we can move forward.
Kim Spradlin, Wolf is queen. That's it. All right. Lindsay wants to go to the end with Homer. Why? Why?
I don't think it's necessarily that she wants to go to the end with them. Now, maybe it is.
She did say that. I hope she wasn't being genuine, but it seemed like it.
But I looked at it more as she needed him around still, like as a buffer. And I could be wrong. Maybe she really wanted to.
I hope not. I hope she's a better player than that. And if she's not a better player than that, then boy, do I worry about her on game and if she wins immunity, who she sends to fire. Yeah. Then we get Marianne. Marianne's starting to play, as Mike called it, Survivor 18.0 instead of Survivor 2.0. However, 18.0 worked. She wants to make her own plan with the extra vote and tells Mike what to do. She's like, you and Jonathan vote for Omer. Then he says that they're voting Romeo because he thinks Lindsay will play the idol for Omer. Marianne then tells Romeo about the plan, and and Jonathan and Mike need to vote Omer. Okay. And then Marianne tells Mike and Jonathan that they'll vote for Romeo, and she'll vote for Omer twice. And then Mike just tells Romeo, says we should get Romeo today and Omer tomorrow. What are we thinking? There is no tomorrow. You can get Romeo out whenever you want. Hopefully never, but you can get him out whenever you want.
I got nothing.
Why does anyone want Romeo out? I don't get it. If Mike said, illogically, I want Jonathan out, we can't get him out because he'll win me. Fine. Now, I don't agree with you, but okay. Romeo? Friggin' Romeo? Maron.
I got nothing.
Michael. All right, anything else before we get to Tribal that you want to touch on?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. We get to Tribal, and of course, it's pouring rain. I love that. I don't know why. I enjoy raining at Tribal. During the day, not as much because then there's not much going on. But at Tribal, I kind of enjoy watching it pour. Maybe because Jeff gets a little bit wet.
It's the little things in life.
It is the little things. This whole Tribal didn't give me much of anything, but we get Mike talking about how the game is evolving. And then we get the interesting bit of Romeo says it's shifting to a more long-term game, and Lindsay, she agrees, and she also, I think, called Romeo Ace, which I also didn't get. I guess we're going back to Survivor Cabone. However, where are these two? It's now shifting to long-term? Come on. Wake up, smell the coffee. Wake up, people.
Romeo very well may have thought that, and I think that's just maybe was his reminder to be like, I pose no threat. Like, why would we get me out? This makes no sense. But
I'm just saying, I think Romeo thinks he's a threat, though. I
that's
really
true.
think he thinks he's.
But I think it's also more of like that dishonest answer where you don't want to be like, yeah, I've been thinking about the end since day 2. I think it's just more of that answer of like, yeah, well, now we're at the stage where it has to go. Like, I don't take too much stock into that.
Yeah, I give Lindsay maybe a bit more of the benefit of the doubt. I'm hoping she wasn't thinking that's real. But boy, do I give Romeo no pass whatsoever. And then
And I
Omar,
think you're always looking at the end of the game, but at this point where it's just so close, it's just, okay, you're not looking at, this massive game board. It's like, I am at the last few moves. Like, I can easily envision this now, where you can envision it, but it's just like there's so many variables that are going to happen between, like, say, the beginning of post merge and final 6.
absolutely. And Omar correct kind of corrects the both of them and says that people have been thinking about the long-term game for a while. This is a moment where he's right. I don't know if he needed to say that.
It is, but I mean, I think the planned events were already in place that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, none of it matters. Marianne talks about that it depends on how safe you feel. If you feel safe, you're thinking long term. If you don't feel safe, you're thinking right now. Completely right. And Lindsay talks about feeling confident in how the vote will go, but not sure if people believe her. And then we get Omar's line that he's survivor confident, but thinks he could be wrong. He didn't think hard enough that he could be wrong. Not think hard enough.
Yeah. And that one was specifically left in because he was going home.
Yes. Also, just want to shout out that Dan is holding a pen and that he's showing it on camera. So I'm not the only one. People don't. Yeah. So I remember.
I'm not writing anything. I just like to fidget with stuff with my hands. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Oh my God. Maybe that's okay with the trolls on the internet, on our YouTube page. Who knows? Just found that funny. Then Jonathan says something's definitely happening because Survivor ain't that easy. Good job, Jonathan. Marianne reminds people that the shot in the dark can be played and reminded me. She reminded me of that. I'm like, wait, technically, yeah, no one's going to play it, but they sure as hell can.
Yeah, there was a mention of it. It was either the beginning of the episode or at some point in the last episode where it was brought up that Final 6, like I think Jeff brought it up, that it was the last time it could be played.
Yeah. And Omar then says he has nothing and really hopes it's not played against him, which, oops. My question, should anybody have played the shot in the dark?
No.
I think I'm with you. I mean, obviously Omar doesn't know, so she shouldn't have. Maybe Romeo should have.
Because
or Jonathan knew. I don't know.
Omar was that worried, all that energy should have been talked into trying to get the idol from Lindsay.
He should have. I think Omar definitely should have not played the shot in the dark.
Just gotten the idol. I don't think he should have played it.
Romeo or Jonathan.
I don't think it would have been. I don't think it would have been right for any of them to play, especially at 6. Like, I get that we saw it in the beginning of the game where their tribe's a 6, but when you know that there's going to be votes going so many different ways, like just not having your vote there can cause so many different issues.
Oh yeah, but for players like that who are in a little bit of trouble, I could at least see it. Glad they didn't though, for their sake. But then we go to the vote. And I think Homer said he knew something was wrong when he saw Romeo's name written down. The votes went Jonathan, Romeo, Omar. He looks at Marianne, is like, you did it. She says she did it. I love that. I just love saying that. Did you do it? It's like, I did it.
The nicer version of the Michaela and Jay exchange.
Yeah, it was a nicer version. Appreciated that. He tells everyone good job. He gives everyone but Marianne a hug. I watched a couple times. I didn't see him give her a hug. I know he gave her kudos and a lot of it. Just find that funny.
I mean, Jeff, even if I can be friends with someone, but you were specifically the reason why I went home, like, don't hug me, coach. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, but he still was very positive about the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Unlike our friend from Survivor South Pacific. Jeff tells them they're starting at a new camp again. Don't know why we do this. There's really no point, but okay. Makes Jeff happy. Fine.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you? Every time we started a new camp for the start of the finale has only been the best seasons. Island of the Idols, 42. Like, why not? Why not keep that train rolling?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And then Omer's final words are just simply that Marianne got him. She got him. She did. He's giving her credit. I think he's going to be a big advocate for her if she makes it to the end, and I think that will really help her stock. However, Omer has less sway in the jury than I had previously thought, because I had thought, with the way these people have been reacting all season, that Omer was going to go to the jury and receive a lot of love. According to Omer himself in his interview with Dalton Ross, he did not feel that. I don't know if you heard what happened.
I was disappointed that he didn't name names, or at least I didn't see where names were named.
He didn't name names, but boy, is it pretty clear. I think there's at least one. He said he got a very uncomfortable response. People were very not happy with him. And
Right.
one person in particular that has pretty much, from what I've seen, made no bones about it. Hyde does not like him very much.
That would have been my guess.
Yeah, Hyde does not like him very much. So I believe Hyde was leading that charge, which is interesting. And from what I believe, he didn't appreciate how the lie that he told Mike that Hyde was like treating him like a puppet. And Omer said he's like, I made that up, but it was grounded in truth. He said everything but the word puppet.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of them don't seem like they're getting along.
Yeah, that's fair. You're not going to like everyone in your cast.
No, I just wish Omer got a better reception, but not for everyone. Not for everyone. Do we want to talk about the? Why don't we rate the players? And then we talk about the jury when we come back. How about that?
Sounds good. See you on the other side of the break.
See you on the other side.
We're all trying to eat better, but healthy breakfast doesn't have to be boring. Magic Spoon has the amazing flavors you love, but without all the bad stuff. And it's amazing as a midnight snack right before bed.
0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories per serving.
It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And build your own box. Available flavors to build your very own custom bundle are cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, and my favorite, maple waffle. Now, Magic Spoon recently brought back their 2 super popular flavors, cookies and cream and maple waffle. Thank goodness. But they're back permanently. And when these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they sold out extremely quickly. Now, I'm here to let you know you can get them again or try them for the first time. Why? Because they're delicious and indulgent.
Johnny, Magic Spoon has so many great flavors that I really enjoy, and even my kids enjoy them. We have the cocoa, fruity frosted, peanut butter. All these are really great combinations. They enjoy waking up in the morning and getting some Magic Spoon right off to start their day great before they head off to school. I think everybody listening should give Magic Spoon a try, or if you've tried them already, it's time to reorder. Let's get you some more Magic Spoon and get your day started right.
Hey, when I finish a podcast late at night, the first thing I'm thinking is not sleep. It's let me grab a delicious bowl of Magic Spoon before I go to bed.
So go to magicspoon.com/survivor to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code survivor at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/survivor and use the code SURVIVOR to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this podcast.
Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. Don't forget, for more exclusive reality NSFW content, visit adfreensfw.com.
This episode of Reality NSFW is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with us, Blue Chew. Blue Chew is making waves and bringing more confidence to the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger and longer lasting erections. That's right, we're giving away super hard dicks.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED.
Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor offices, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. And the best part, it's all done online.
Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy.
Hey, if you're looking to give that immunity idol to someone, or you don't want to be voted out of a crater, don't worry, Blue Chew's got you covered. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information.
And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code SURVIVOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code SURVIVOR to receive your first month free. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
All right. Ready to rate these final five?
Yeah, I almost think Get Back in Time forgot that the new ad read isn't quite as long.
Well, you made it. And boy, am I glad you did, because I don't know if I'm as good a monologuer as you are. But here we go.
You can go back and listen to it. I wouldn't say that was going well. I was kind of lost for a second, you know?
Well, you were lost and now you are found. And what we found is Jonathan. So you and I both gave Jonathan a 2 last week. He didn't win immunity. He's still here. Is he winning the game? I don't know. But I kind of got to give him a little credit for it. But why don't you start with Jonathan?
He is simply at a 2 because Romeo is still in the game.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go up to a 3, and it's not for his chances of winning, which I think are infinitesimally small. They're bigger than Romeo because I think there's one. Jonathan only has to find one of the other 3 to beat, and I think if something goes drastically wrong with one of their games in the game, maybe he can scrounge votes together, and maybe he's getting a vote or 2. And I also think the fact that he survived another vote without winning immunity, I will give him a little bit of credit. A little bit. Emphasis on a little. But so he's getting a 3 from me, and that's about it. All right. Next up is good old Lindsay. Lindsay. We were both at a 7 on her last week. Man. The next 3 are interesting. I'm going down to a 5, I think. I'm not actually. No, I'm going to go 6. I think I might actually have all 3 of them in a 6. We'll see. Overall, decent spot. I think not playing the idol for Omer may have helped in terms of Omer being out of the game, but the fact that she had no say in it, didn't even know it was happening, and now who's her tightest ally? Who's fighting for her in the game? 2, who's fighting for her on the jury? Those are 2 things I worry about. But can she win immunity? Yeah, she's the only person who I think is beating Jonathan. Maybe one of them. One of the only people who's beating Jonathan.
Outside of Tori.
Oh, yes, Tori. So kudos to her. And she's a beast. Is she winning? I don't know. But she has a chance. So she's at a 6. And yeah, I think I'll leave her at a 6. What about you?
I gave you kind of my power rankings of where they stand currently. You'll be able to tell who I think is potentially winning based upon these next 3 rankings. She is going to be at a 6 for me.
Okay.
I still think if she's there, she wins. Obviously, can't be sure. I think if she's there, she wins. But I think her road of getting there is exponentially harder now.
It is very difficult. It is very, very difficult. Next up, somebody whose road may be a bit easier, but I also think this move helped her if she gets to the end, but it also made her path to the end a bit harder, and that's Marianne. I was at a 5, you were at a 6 last week. I'm going to go up to a 6, same score I've given Lindsay, because comparing her to Lindsay, she's a slightly better shot of making it to the end, but maybe a slightly worse shot of winning. I don't know. It's close. I think she'd be, if I'm giving them decimals, she's at like a 6.8, whereas Lindsay's a 6 point, like, or 6.5 or 6.2. I don't know. Marianne, great move this week. Really, really good move. But if I'm saying in position to win, it's decent. It might be a little too late for some people. And I know she's 24, which makes her the youngest of the people remaining. That's not a good thing. It means she has to work even harder to get people to take her seriously. This move certainly helps. So could Marianne win the game? Absolutely. But does she have a clear path? No. What say you?
7. She's my prediction to win the game.
Okay.
Going at the final 5. Now, 3 weeks ago, I would have called myself high or drunk, but...
Well, no, high's out of the game, Dan.
Yeah, so I guess just drunk. But I think my only worry for her, because I think if Lindsay doesn't win final 5, I think Lindsay goes. Simply just because there's not other options, and that probably means that Jonathan won immunity, would be my guess. And so then my only concern then with Marianne is how does she get to the final 3? Because I'd be shocked if she won a Final 4 immunity challenge. And I think at that point, whoever wins, you're taking Romeo, which means she'd have to win a fire making competition. And I don't know anything about her fire making skills. So that's my only hang up of why I'm not going higher than a 7. But I still, if I had you put a gun to my head right now, who's winning the season, she would be my guess. I don't feel great about it. Like I'm positive, this is what's going to happen, but just where I'm at.
Yeah, I think that's a good testament to the season overall, and I actually am going to make one change. I'm going to bring Lindsay down to a 5 for the reason of her and Marianne and Mike have idols. She does not. So they're safe. They have to really screw it up to go home. Could they? Yeah, they really could. I doubt it, though. Excuse me. I doubt it. So, yeah, Lindsay's going down to a 5 for me. But so Jonathan's at a 3, Lindsay at a 5, Marianne at a 6. You're lower than Jonathan, higher on Lindsay and Marianne than I am. All right. Next up, our third winner contender, and probably last one, that is good old Mike Turner. Why don't you start with Mike, Dan?
Breaks my heart to say I have him at a 5. I think
consistent. You were consistent.
I think the only way he wins is if he's sitting next to Jonathan and Romeo, which could be a very likely outcome. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being those 3 at the final 3, but I think that is the only situation of where he wins. I think Mike has probably played the best social game of anyone this season. You see him constantly bonding with everyone out there, and everyone loves Mike. But I think he's given his word too many times. And I'm like, I brought it up earlier, I'm just afraid that's what he's going to bank on and not really own what he did and say, it was my social game that got you, that got us so close that you didn't think I was going to betray you. And I just don't think he's going to play that card. I think everyone still loves Mike. I don't think that, if Mike were to go out pre-final 3, I don't think that he's going to get a rough reception from Ponderosa. But
except maybe from high.
Probably
not, but maybe.
I think everyone still, for the most part, loves Mike. I don't think you can point to like what's Mike's biggest strategic move, because I almost feel whatever that is, someone else gets more credit for it in that situation.
Yeah. Similar reason for Marianne. I'm giving him a 6. He's safe. He is at the final 4. That's one big hurdle out of the way. He does not have to survive another vote in this game. And although he's a firefighter, I think I trust his ability to make fire more than everybody not named Jonathan.
That was going to be my question. Is we know we can put the fires out. Can he start them? I don't know the answer to that question.
We've had other firefighters start fires, haven't we? Jeremy never had to make fire.
Jeremy never had to. Keith never had to.
No, there's someone. I feel like there was some, at least maybe not in a challenge, but like at camp. I don't know. Whatever. I trust Mike to make a fire, decently. I don't know. I think JP made it again. I don't know. I trust him decently. I think he's in a better position in that if he's up against Lindsay and Marianne, he has a shot. I don't think he's necessarily going to play the I was honorable. If he does, he's in trouble. If he doesn't, I think he can really, really do well in this game. But it comes down to how he decides to play it. And he's in one of the better spots. So, yeah, he's at a 6 for me.
Yeah, I think Mike and Romeo, obviously for much different reasons, I feel the most comfortable about those two being in the final 3. I'm not saying that they're both going to be there, but I feel like they have the easiest path, simply because, like I said, is he either needs to win a challenge or win a fire making competition or be brought. He could be brought as well. And we haven't seen him make a fire. I'd imagine he can. And so I think he has one of the easier paths just because he either needs to win a challenge, be brought, or win a fire. Like, I mean, still, I don't see how Romeo isn't the one being brought, but I think he has, I think, the second easiest path to at least getting to the final 3.
I think I'm with you. All right, last but not least, let's start with the person who's the easiest road to make the final 3 and the easiest road to not get a single vote. And that is my boy, Romeo. I have enjoyed Romeo on my screen. I think he's really interesting. He's been a bit of a letdown in terms of the game at times, but I think he's a really interesting person. I think he would be fun to hang out with in real life. But he is getting my 1 for the last time. No shot whatsoever. Dan, you can't tell me you're not giving him a 1 because I already wrote it down. I assume you're giving him a 1, right?
I would be more shocked than anything in the season if he was not the 3rd place 0 vote finalist.
If he gets a vote, I'm shocked. And I was talking to my cousin about this on Sunday, and I was like, I think he was watching it with one of his roommates who like doesn't really watch the season, hasn't watched the season, he was just kind of watching him watch the episode, and he was like, I think Romeo could win. And then he's like talking to me, he's like, Romeo could win. I'm like, how? Tell me one person that's voting for him. And it was like, maybe this one. And I was like, maybe if they split. I'm like, but who's voting for Romeo? Who is actually voting for Romeo? Like, if you like Jonathan, yeah, I don't know.
Romeo's only chance at having a moment is if somehow it's going to be an 8-person jury again?
It is.
Or is it 9?
8.
Sure, it's 8.
It's 8.
As if it's somehow a 4-4 vote and Romeo gets to cast the deciding vote. I think that's his only chance for a shining moment at Final Travel.
Forgot about that. That could be. All right. We are. Let's put up the picture of the cast for argument's sake. All right. What I would like to do right now, if you're game for this, before we go through the jury, let's just play out final 5 to 3. So what we know at 5, we have Jonathan, Lindsay, Marianne, Mike, Romeo left. Marianne is safe. She has an idol. Mike is safe. He has an idol. That's all we have right now, correct?
Correct. Which would mean that it's either Lindsay, Jonathan, or Romeo potentially up for grabs.
Okay, Romeo's not going anywhere. I'm assuming Marianne, Mike, and Romeo are all equally safe in my opinion.
No, I think it's honestly
Wow.
going to come down to. I'd be shocked if it came down to anything else. In the past handful of challenges have been for immunity.
Could it be
I
whoever
think it's
wins
Jonathan or Lindsay, and whoever wins is safe.
and whoever loses
Obviously, they're safe, but I think that by default
sends the other
knocks
one
the other
home?
person out.
Oh, all right. And we know what the challenge kind of is. At least from seeing pictures and stuff. Who do you think wins it? And who has won that?
So I didn't see the pictures. You were saying it's one of the ones where like they're on the nets and they have to go out to the
Yeah.
like almost like a spider, like go out to the different locations, bring back puzzle pieces, and assemble.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Actually, let me double check the second part, but I know it is like the semicircle.
If it's
where is
with the puzzle,
it? There is a puzzle.
I would have to. Oh, do you have new
It's like
information?
that. It's like that.
Is it the
those
one where
puzzles-
like Sophie one where you have to get like move around the shape so they fit in? Like there's 8 of them, and you have to get them to fit into the right slots. They each only have one correct spot.
Not exactly, but it's like you know those puzzles that are like they have to build it standing, and it's like a very odd shapes. Like
Okay.
they have to build it on like a tree stump. It looks like it's very weird. It looks like a decent amount of pieces.
I would give.
It's one of those. It's like the very weird shape pieces that they have to like. Basically, it's like there is one solution, and that is it.
Unless there's an upset, but if we're going, it's either Jonathan or Lindsay, I'd have to give the edge to Lindsay just because, I mean, Jonathan at the reward challenge last week, he was first to the puzzle and could not get that thing together.
Yeah.
So I would think that Lindsay is slightly better at puzzles, which is why I would give the edge to her, but I could be talked into a different direction.
All right. Let's play these both out. All right. Lindsay wins. Jonathan is gone. Hallelujah.
Correct.
If that happens. It also turns out if the advantage is the same thing, who finds it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, that very well could be, if there is an advantage, that very well could be the boost that maybe like a Mike, Marianne could potentially win. I think Mike would probably have the best chance at potentially winning if it's going to go that route.
Yeah. All right. And then if Mike, all right, let's actually play that out for real quick. Let's say Mike or Marianne win. Who are they playing their idol for? Anybody?
No,
I don't. Mike could maybe save Jonathan. I doubt it. Marianne maybe saves Lindsay and Ida, but probably not. Right, they don't play it, then maybe that's interesting because both Jonathan and Lindsay are up for grabs fighting for themselves. If not, maybe, right?
I think Lindsay is the most likely to go home.
Yeah.
But I would also put her as the most likely to win immunity. But I think she needs to win immunity to be safe. Probably,
yeah. Maybe if it's her and Jonathan that are both eligible, she can maybe convince them. Maybe. But alas. All right, Jonathan's out. Our final 4 in this, I guess, dream universe / reality is Lindsay, Marianne, Mike, and Romeo. Let's just play it out again. Lindsay wins immunity again. Probably she does. Who does she take? Who is she taking to the end? Hopefully, right? Marianne and Mike make fire. Mike probably wins that.
I would imagine, but you haven't seen either of them make fire. Like we haven't seen it this season.
Yeah.
That was still the most disappointing thing about last season was you had that moment at the merge where Erica was down and out and she made fire. And I was like, this is her moment. She's going to do it again and beat someone at the Final 4 challenge. And then it was just left in there for no reason because that's not what happened. I was so convinced of that.
You and I have been convinced of many things this season that have not happened. It wouldn't have passed me that they do something like that again. But yeah, I think for me, the most likely scenario is probably a Lindsay, Mike, Romeo final 3. And I think in that scenario, Mike wins it actually.
I think Lindsay wins it if that's a 3.
I think I'd rather Lindsay win it. I don't know.
At that point, because going into this episode, she's won 3 individual challenges,
2, right? 2.
Is it only
She won-
2?
I think 2 in the reward.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Because she won this one. Jonathan was last week, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, where it was only the 2 of them, and it was the do or die.
Yeah, Jonathan won that one.
And then Lindsay won the week before.
That was when High went home. Yeah, Lindsay won that one. They had the split tribal, and Jonathan
won one. It was Jonathan and High.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so she won 2. But so even if you did that, that puts her
at 4.
4, which is ties the record for most immunity challenges won by a female in a season.
And it's one off everyone.
One off the record, correct?
Yeah.
So I think she if that is the final 3, I think she wins solely off the fact that she won 4 challenges. And then she was pretty decent strategically and socially. Where
Yeah.
I think that's a big feather in a cap is hey, everyone was afraid of Jonathan in challenges all season, and I beat him.
Yeah. It would be close, no doubt. And I think it would be really interesting. But now why don't we play out the most interesting scenario? And honestly, I would say maybe rank these jurors who they're most likely to vote for going down the line.
Based on this scenario, or
Let me just swap out Romeo for Marianne.
There's no way we're getting that final 3, but we can play your game.
Well, here's the thing. There's no way we're getting it. We also kind of thought that last season. Did you think we were going to lose Ricard and Heather?
Yes,
in any universe.
hard.
Yeah, we guessed Ricard. But could
Heather,
you have seen a Deshaun, Erica, Xander, Fountain, which was arguably the most interesting of the possibilities?
No.
So I won't put anything past anything. And also, it at least gives us a good indicator. If 2 of these 3 are in the end, who's likely getting the vote over the other? Because if Romeo or Jonathan there, we assume they probably don't get the vote. Maybe Jonathan gets 1 vote, but I think Jonathan could get a Roxroy and maybe a Mike. That's probably it.
Okay.
But that's why I think if we take it as the most interesting scenario, we're just we can. I mean, basically going through the jurors and ranking who they'll vote for. Why don't we start with Chanel? Where do you think Chanel's head is at?
Marianne 1, Lindsay 2.
And Mike 3, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have much relationship with either Marianne or Lindsay.
After everything that happened, I don't think it's going to Mike. So I think it's just a toss up for Marianne or Lindsay, which way she's heading.
Oh, man.
Chanel being, because she famously has been big in, the orgs and stuff like that. I could see her having a lot of respect for the Omer move that Marianne pulled.
Yeah, I think
and slightly tipping the balance in that way.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
But if you said that she was going to vote for Lindsay, I wouldn't be shocked. It just would be the way I'd predict.
I think I'm with you there. All right, next out was Roxroy. He's one of the biggest wild cards because who knows what he's thinking.
Pass.
I think I'm going to go Mike, Marianne, Lindsay. Mike, Lindsay, Marianne, actually.
I could see that.
Because I think he just, with all due respect, I don't think he fully respects, not respects, but takes Marianne seriously enough because she's just a lot younger.
I would think that he would be more, you think about his big thing, it was about doing things around camp.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say Mike, Lindsay, Marianne.
All right.
Because I think Lindsay would do more. It seems like she's maybe does a little bit more around camp. And that's Roxroy's thing.
Yeah, and I also think the fact that she's will have won 2 to 4 individual immunities, whereas the others will have at most 2.
Yeah.
Says something, except Jonathan. Actually, I'm curious for Roxroy because I think Roxroy's one of the ones. Does he vote for Jonathan over any of these 3?
Potentially.
Yeah, I think maybe even over. I don't think over Mike. Maybe over Lindsay. Probably over Marianne. I don't know. Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah, I think. All right, that's where Jonathan gets his vote, probably. And if you want to say Jonathan winning the game, I think it's a stretch, but it's he gets Roxroy, he gets Tori, he gets Mike. One or the other is just kind of a like, all right, fine. Maybe a Lindsay. I don't know. But it's a stretch. All right, Tori. I think Tori goes Lindsay, Mike, Mary. Lindsay. Damn. I think she respects the move a lot. I think she really liked that move.
I think she really liked the move, but I think she'd respect Lindsay's wins in the challenges. Because
Overall, yeah, maybe a bit more.
I think Lindsay, Marianne, Mike. But that one is, of all the people, her and Roxroy would probably be the ones that I'd be the most confused about, as you could tell me almost any order and I'd be sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Fourth was
High.
What's High? Yeah. I just feel like there's somebody in between him and then there's not. High, I think. Well, let's see. Mike is last, probably.
It's a toss up between Marianne and Lindsay.
I think if he doesn't like Omer, I think he's really going to like the Marianne move. I think he goes Marianne.
I can be bought into that because I could see him going either way.
Which would you pick, though, honestly?
Marianne 1, Lindsay 2.
Okay, we're in agreement there. All right.
Because I think if he doesn't like Omer, I think he'd really like that move. And I don't know, if you're computing everything, like High as a data analysis, I could see him slightly knocking Lindsay for, yes, she ended up being safe, but having the wrong probability on the Monty Hall problem.
Maybe. Drea.
It's another one where Mike's last, I think, for me, and it's a toss-up.
I don't know, actually. Because she gave him the kiss of death, and I'm wondering if that she would respect, you know what, I gave you the kiss of death and you still made it.
Dre is another one, I guess I could see. You could tell me that she was going to vote for any of the three, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you wanted to do it Mike, Lindsay, Marianne.
You could put any order. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. What's your order? Put this down for our finale podcast when one of us when we're both probably wrong.
Marianne, Mike, Lindsay.
Marianne, Mike, Lindsay.
But if you asked me again in 3 seconds, it'd be a different order.
What did she say to Lindsay? She told Mike.
I'm rooting for you, and you know why.
Yeah,
and it's because of the amulet. She gave Mike the kiss of death, and she told Marianne, like, keep being you.
Yeah, but she had a reaction to Marianne's move.
Maybe Marianne's won.
Oh God, I think Lindsay's won. Actually, I think she's rooting for. I'm gonna go Lindsay at 1.
That. Like I said, I could easily convince myself into that the longer we spend time on this. So,
Lindsay, I think she liked the move. I think she's maybe liked Mike's game. I think I'm gonna go Lindsay, Mike, Marianne. What order did you have? You had it flipped, right? Or no, you had Mike third, I think.
No, I said Mike. No, I said Marianne, Mike, Lindsay.
And then you're sticking to that?
No, but write it down.
What would you go with? Give me something to write down. What are you thinking?
Marianne, Lindsay, Mike.
Ooh, all right. All right. Hopefully I remember what my notes mean. Drea is one of the most. Drea and Roxroy, I think, are Drea, Roxroy, and Tori, 3 of the most interesting jurors we've ever had, and that we have no idea what they're thinking. And also having no Ponderosa helps with that.
I keep saying, "Oh, they're the hardest to predict." And then we get to the next one, and I'm like, "Just kidding. That was a lie."
All right. Next up is good old Omer.
Lindsay, Marianne, Mike.
I think it was Marianne, Lindsay, Mike. because I think he will give more credit than anybody to the move. I think.
You very well could be right. Not going to discount that.
This is why I love this, because we have no idea. Listen, in some ways it's an exercise in futility. Obviously, we don't think, but like if two of them get to the end, it's who?
I think what we've learned from it is that as we're going through it, we can keep going through that. I think it's Lindsay or Marianne. And if they're both there, then it is a toss up.
All right, let's go through our final five then. Starting with Jonathan.
We'd be saying that Jonathan would be, he'd probably vote Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
I could see that, like Mike, Lindsay, Marianne. You could flip 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think I'm just in agreement with you there. Romeo. Good God, who?
Marianne, Lindsay, Mike.
Does he like Lindsay or Marianne more? Probably Marianne.
She's at least been talking to him.
Yeah.
They were in kind of, they were the ones responsible for getting Omer out.
Yeah.
I give Marianne the edge, then Lindsay, then Mike.
Fair enough. All right. Lindsay. Probably Marianne, then Mike, right?
Oh, if Lindsay was voting between them?
Yeah.
I'd say Marianne, then Mike.
Then if Marianne's on the jury.
Lindsay, then Mike.
Yeah, I'm thinking with you there. And then what if Mike?
So the one would be...
It'd be
who's
Lindsay or
Mike voting
Marianne.
for?
Yeah.
I still think it's Lindsay, Marianne.
Man, Mike is... Ooh, I think, yeah. All right, I'm just going to do some math real quick.
And then if you're doing that, I guess I'll just talk, while you're doing your math.
Yeah.
If Romeo were there, which we're both predicting that he's going to be there, I don't see any way where he gets a vote.
I don't either.
I don't see it possible. If Jonathan is there, I could potentially see him getting Roxroy and Mike, assuming that Mike isn't also with him. But I don't even think he'd get Tori. I don't see a way that if Jonathan's there, he gets more than 2 votes.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. 2 is his magic number. And it is the 2 dudes that he was with from day one. Not day one, the merge. Merge day one. Oh. Merge day that he got there.
I think we understood what you meant. We're good.
Yeah. Just the stupid season. No, we can't say the merge because they didn't earn the merge. And then maybe they did. I don't know. So looking at this, let's start with the 6 people that we know are on the jury. Marianne gets votes. She wins high in Chanel's votes, we're saying. And I'm saying that she gets Omer's. Lindsay comes in. The only person Lindsay theoretically comes in last for is in your opinion with Chanel. So I think that's interesting. Oh man. Yeah, I don't see it. No one else would have her last. Literally no one.
Oh, if I had Chanel having Lindsay last, then that's an error because I would have had her having Mike last.
Maybe I'm right. Okay, that one I think I screwed up. Then I would have had me.
Because I don't think
Mike Lindsay.
Chanel may be the only person that doesn't love Mike. Or at least has loved him at some point in this season.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, then I may have said. Yeah, no. All right. Yeah, we have Lindsay. Okay. Let's play this out. It's Marianne and Mike. Marianne gets Chanel. She gets Tori. She gets High. I say she. Hold on. You say Mike gets it. I say Marianne gets Drea's vote. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I have Marianne beating her. And then Marianne and Mike. Who else? Lindsay would go to Marianne. Romeo would go Marianne. And Jonathan would go Mike. This is making my head spin. But I think maybe Lindsay has the best shot, actually. I can't believe I'm saying
I think Lindsay has the best shot if it would theoretically be the three of them. I think what we've learned is that going through this is that if Marianne or Lindsay is there with pick two of the other three males that are still in the game, I think they win.
Yeah, I think all three of them win against Jonathan and Romeo.
Correct. I think Mike needs Jonathan and Romeo in order to win. I think if he's up against either of the other two, he comes in second.
Probably.
Which is why when I went through my rankings, I think Lindsay wins if she's there, but I think she has the hardest path, which is why I favor Marianne as
yeah. So you're going your order is Marianne, Lindsay, Mike, Jonathan, Romeo.
As far as predictions, yes.
Who's winning? Yeah. Overall, who's winning?
Yeah, I think Marianne's winning. I think Lindsay wins if she's there, but I don't think she's going to get there.
My one thing I'm going to flip Mike and Lindsay. I think Lindsay's road to the end is incredibly difficult. So that's what I'm just going to say. Marianne, Mike, Lindsay. And also, I don't know how this jury's going. Lindsay's the one. Lindsay, I just don't know how this jury's going to react to her. They may love her, they may not.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what I'm going to say about it? It is making me so excited for this end game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wow, we've talked. All we've come to the conclusion is that we don't know what's happening tomorrow, and I love that.
Makes my head spin.
It makes mine too. My head is spinning. It is done spinning, I hope. Do you want to plug what's going on Reality NSFW?
Yeah, of course.
Close this out.
So I know Johnny would be upset if we didn't mention it. If you are anywhere in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, you're able to get there. He is having a viewing party tomorrow night at Pinball Garage. It is a free event. Starts at 7:00. I said you don't need to buy tickets. You can just show up. And I know Johnny's doing some buff giveaways, as well as he always does, signed pictures of former and current contestants during the commercial breaks where I'll have trivia. You get it right first, you get the signed picture. And so that's Pinball Garage. I know it's someplace in the Cincinnati, Ohio area. Free tomorrow night starting at 7:00. And Johnny will be there as long as with Matt Bischoff. And then I believe Matt said that Marcus Lehman from Gabon will be there. And I'm sure there will be a few other contestants that I know live in that area that will probably make an appearance. As always, if you like what we're doing here at Reality NSFW, the best way to support the podcast is to become a patron. You can do that at adfreensfw.com. Join for a month. If you don't like it, Johnny will refund your money. You're not held hostage. It's a great place. We have a lot of fun. It gets you access to the secret patron group. It gets you access to bonus podcasts, which are the weekly Q&A, and it's Johnny and Matt going through old seasons of Australian Survivor. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, try it for a month. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. It's no big deal. And then, if you're not willing to do that, at least, like, subscribe, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are listening. We love and appreciate your feedback, even the ones that aren't great. We still appreciate it. Appreciate that you're listening, at least.
So make sure you tell Johnny how great a job Dan and I are doing, and how much you want to hear more of us.
Yeah,
on everything.
I guess a bonus is, you become a patron. You never know what's going to happen. Most of the podcasters that you hear on Reality NSFW were first patrons before they ever started doing it. So you never know what could happen.
And we're normal people. Just come talk to us.
Absolutely.
I need more friends who watch this nonsense.
And, make sure to check out all the other things that are happening on the Reality NSFW channel. We're going to have the live reaction show that's going to be tomorrow night as soon as the episode airs, probably starting during the reunion show, whatever you want to call it again. But
The after show.
the after show, yeah, feel free to stop by.
Stop by the
and check
actual
that
after show instead of the
Yeah.
Survivor after show.
check that out tomorrow night right after it. And then as far as other podcasts going on, we also have, if you're fans of the Challenge All Stars 3 is going on right now. Johnny and then a combination of Alex Trias, Lauren Pratt cover that. Those episodes generally come out on Fridays. And we are getting to, a little bit of the slower part of, the reality TV coverage, but there are new shows that are coming out. And once they start, you can bet that we will be covering here on Reality NSFW. So make sure that you're subscribed and check out what we're doing, because we'll be coming out with tons of podcasts and bonus content each week.
Sure. All right. Dan and I will also be back for the finale sometime within the week, more than likely, maybe with a special guest. We'll see what person or people want to talk about it. Not sure if Lauren and Sarah are going to be doing Ladies Night again, but if they are, go check that out. And if you're in New York City tomorrow or the surrounding area, I will be actually watching Survivor live for the first time in a while. Literally going from my college commencement over to St. Pat's Bar and Grill, I believe is the name of it. There's going to be a decently sized finale party hosted by Jordan Kalish, who's a good friend of mine. There may not be any survivors there, but it's just going to be a very chill night to watch the finale with a really, really nice group of people. I still remember watching the Edge of Extinction finale live with this group of people, and the audible groans are something I will never forget. We all were in despair, and we also thought Island of the Idols would be a decent season. It wasn't a good night. It was not a good night. I'm wrong. It was a fun night, and it was only made better by the fact that I was with a bunch of people, because we all got to be sad together. Hopefully tonight, and maybe we'll be like that if Jonathan somehow wins this game. But if not, we'll probably be celebrating
about that.
We'll be celebrating a great season. And yeah, come out, come say hi to me. I want friends, like I've said. Come talk to me about Survivor. Yeah, I think that's it. Dan, you have any more thoughts on the finale or anything?
No, I think this week you've heard me enough. Everyone's heard me talk about it enough. So
yeah. Well, you know what? You've given the kiss of death to people. I gave the kiss of death to Omer last week. Hopefully we don't give the kiss of death to anybody, and to none of our listeners either. All right. That is it. In the good old words of Billy Joel, one of my favorite singers, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. Unfortunately, it's time for goodbye. And yeah, check out our coverage tomorrow for the finale. All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
And for more reality NSFW content, visit adfreensfw.com.